We yearn for the perfect partner, a flawless soulmate. But this desire, so deeply ingrained, is a fantasy. It sets us up for disappointment. No one is without flaws. To believe otherwise is to deny the essence of being human. We are all a tapestry of strengths and weaknesses, woven together to create the unique individuals we are. The pursuit of perfection in love is a fool's errand. It leads us down a path of unrealistic expectations. True love thrives not in the absence of flaws, but in their acceptance. When we embrace these imperfections, we open ourselves to a love that is deeper, more meaningful, and ultimately more fulfilling. To love someone truly is to love them in their entirety, flaws and all. Only then can we experience the transformative power of love that transcends superficiality and embraces the authentic essence of who we are. Imperfections add depth and character to our lives. They are the cracks that let the light in, revealing the raw beauty beneath the surface. In a world obsessed with perfection, it is these imperfections that make us interesting, relatable, and uniquely human. When we allow ourselves to see beyond the flaws, we discover a different kind of beauty. A beauty that is genuine, unfiltered, and profoundly moving. These imperfections, often dismissed as flaws, become the very things that draw us to another person. To love someone's imperfections is to love them for who they truly are, not who we want them to be. The shared vulnerabilities, the acceptance of our true selves, the understanding that we are all flawed and perfectly imperfect, this is where love finds its fertile ground. When we feel the need to hide our flaws, we build walls around our hearts. We fear judgment, rejection, and the potential pain of vulnerability. Embracing imperfections in a relationship creates a safe space for authenticity. It allows us to let down our guard, to shed the masks we wear, and to reveal our true selves without fear of judgment. This vulnerability, though often perceived as weakness, is actually a sign of immense strength and courage. When we can be our authentic selves with another person, we experience a level of freedom and liberation that is deeply empowering. This freedom to be our authentic selves is a gift we give not only to ourselves, but also to our partners. In this space, love flourishes, relationships deepen, and we discover the true meaning of connection. Accepting imperfections in a relationship is not about passive resignation. It is an active choice, a conscious decision to embrace the reality of who our partners are, flaws and all. Building a bridge of acceptance starts with communication, creating a safe space where both partners feel comfortable expressing their insecurities, fears, and vulnerabilities. It's about listening with an open heart, without judgment or the need to fix. Acceptance also means recognizing that our partners, like ourselves, are works in progress. Choosing to meet these imperfections with understanding and compassion, rather than criticism or judgment, is what strengthens the foundation of a relationship. It is through these acts of acceptance that we build bridges of empathy, fostering a love that is resilient, forgiving, and ultimately, unshakable. Imagine a world where everyone was perfect, where every conversation flowed effortlessly, every date was magical, and every disagreement was resolved with grace and understanding. While this may sound idyllic, it lacks the messy, unpredictable, and ultimately beautiful reality of human connection. It is in the imperfections, the misunderstandings, and the challenges that we truly grow as individuals and as couples. These experiences, though often difficult, teach us patience, forgiveness, and the importance of compromise. The imperfections we initially perceive as obstacles often become the very things that bind us together. They become shared stories, inside jokes, and reminders of our journey together. Embracing imperfections is not about settling for mediocrity. It is about choosing to see the beauty in the cracks, to find humor in the chaos, and to love not in spite of the flaws, but because of them. The pursuit of perfection often leads us to present a curated version of ourselves to the world. We hide our flaws, highlight our strengths, and strive to project an image of effortless perfection. While this may serve us well in superficial interactions, it creates a barrier to true intimacy. When we allow ourselves to be seen in our entirety, flaws and all, we open the door to a deeper level of connection. This vulnerability, though often uncomfortable, is the birthplace of true intimacy. True intimacy flourishes not in the absence of flaws, but in their acceptance. When we can be vulnerable with another person, we create a bond that is unbreakable. This is the essence of true intimacy. A connection built on authenticity, acceptance, and unconditional love. Unconditional love, the purest and most powerful form of love, is rooted in acceptance. It is about loving someone for who they are, flaws and all, without expectation or the need to change them. This type of love is a gift, not only to the recipient but also to the giver. When we love unconditionally, we free ourselves from the need to judge, criticize, or control. Unconditional love does not mean condoning hurtful behavior or accepting disrespect. It means setting healthy boundaries while still holding space for understanding and compassion. To love unconditionally is to embrace the imperfections of another person, not because we are blind to their flaws, but because we choose to see beyond them. It is a love that celebrates the light and accepts the shadows, knowing that both are essential to the wholeness of who they are. The journey towards embracing imperfections in our relationships begins with accepting our own. It is difficult, if not impossible, to offer genuine acceptance to another person if we are constantly at war with our own perceived flaws. Self-acceptance is not about complacency or resignation. It is about recognizing that we are all a work in progress, that we will make mistakes, and that our imperfections do not diminish our worthiness of love and belonging. When we can embrace our own imperfections, we begin to view the imperfections of others through a more compassionate lens. We understand that these flaws are not signs of weakness, but rather reminders of our shared humanity. We learn to offer ourselves and others the grace to be imperfect, to stumble, and to grow. It is through this process that we learn to love ourselves more fully, and in turn, become more capable of loving others unconditionally. Embracing imperfections requires cultivating compassion and understanding, both for ourselves and for our partners. It is about recognizing that we are all doing the best we can with the resources we have, and that everyone is fighting their own internal battles. Compassion begins with empathy, with the ability to step into another person's shoes and see the world from their perspective. It is about trying to understand the why behind their actions, their insecurities, and their perceived flaws. Understanding does not mean excusing hurtful behavior, but it does create space for forgiveness and growth. It fosters a deeper connection built on empathy, compassion, and a shared understanding of our human fragility. Cultivating compassion and understanding in our relationships is an ongoing practice. It is through this practice that we create a more compassionate and loving world, both within ourselves and in our relationships. The true test of love is not in the grand gestures or the fairy tale romances, but in the everyday moments of acceptance. It is in choosing to love our partners, flaws and all, even when it's difficult, inconvenient, or challenges our own insecurities. It is in the way we respond to their mistakes with understanding rather than judgment. It is in the way we navigate conflict, with compassion rather than criticism. Acceptance in action is about celebrating their strengths and supporting them through their weaknesses. It is about creating a safe space for them to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, and to grow without fear of judgment. These everyday acts of acceptance, though seemingly small, are the building blocks of a love that endures. They create a foundation of trust, respect, and unconditional love that can weather any storm. Embracing imperfections in love is a transformative experience. It challenges us to confront our own insecurities, to let go of unrealistic expectations, and to embrace the messy, unpredictable beauty of authentic connection. It teaches us that true love thrives not in the absence of flaws, but in their acceptance. When we allow ourselves to be loved and to love others unconditionally, we open ourselves to a level of intimacy and connection that is both healing and empowering. This acceptance, both of ourselves and of those we love, is the foundation of a love that is real, lasting, and deeply fulfilling. It is a love that transcends the superficial, embracing the authentic essence of what it means to be human. In a world obsessed with perfection, choosing to embrace imperfection is a radical act. It is a testament to the power of love to heal, to transform, and to remind us that we are all perfectly imperfect, and in that imperfection lies our greatest beauty.